Hi, good morning. This is Susan. So I'm back in this spot because someone this week told me that this was their favorite spot of where I do Facebook Live. I'm not sure why, but so I decided to jump on here in honor of them. And I titled this Facebook Live, Tell, Tell, Tell. So this has been something that has kind of just been in my soul for the last couple weeks, and then really hit hard. I think yesterday when I was watching the Sunday service from Elevation Church, and Stephen Furtick was talking about how he wanted to connect with a certain person, that he was from Moncks Corner, and he found out that this other famous person was from Moncks Corner, and didn't really know how to connect all the dots and didn't know how to put it all together in order to get in touch with this person so that he could meet with them. And so in this message, he was talking about how he ended up going to get his hair cut, and someone else, like while he was there, someone at the place where he was getting his haircut said to him, "Hey," I think his name is Charmaine the God, and they said to him, "Hey, Charmaine was just in here, and he said that he really wanted to get in touch with you, and he wanted to speak with you, and asked me to give you his card." And as I was listening to that and just seeing how God knits things together, how he is so amazing and he's so miraculous that he drops things in our spirit, and he drops things for us to do, and he drops things that are going to happen, or that we really feel like we need to do. We need to connect with this person. We need to go there. We need, he leads us. But when he talked about how God made it so that he could actually meet with this person, it was, I don't know, it just did something in me, and it just created this burning in me. And it was like, for the first time in a really long time, I kind of put my finger on what I'm hoping for. And I've talked with my friends about this stage of my life and not really totally understanding and feeling like exactly what God wants me to do in this season. Like, I'm trying to be faithful in the things as they come up. Like, if there's an opportunity at church, I take it. If there's an opportunity to meet with someone, I take it. If there's a speaking engagement, or if someone wants me to guest write an article, or like, I feel like I don't want to say that I'm floundering, because I'm not floundering. It's just like, okay, God, what you want me to do, just, if it falls on my plate, or I see it, or I feel like I am supposed to do it, then I'm going to do it. And after I listened to that message, and it's not about the crowds. It's not about the speaking opportunities. It's not about being known. It's not about a blog going viral, or it's about seeing God miraculously line things up in my life, and knowing that he's present, and that he's leading me, and that he's guiding me. And I really could care less where it is, but it's knowing that that's what God has for me. And so as I watched the whole message from Sunday with Stephen Furtick, and it was really good. It was getting a different perspective. But really, for me, more than anything, what spoke to me is how God lined things up for something to be accomplished that was miraculous, that these two men came together where they were from different worlds, but he put it in both of their hearts to come together and to meet. And to me, that's just the miraculous hand of God. And in my life, I've seen God move in miraculous ways, and not just one time, but over and over again. I've seen God line things up. I've seen God do amazing things. But after a while, it's really easy to forget about all the things that God has done, that you have seen, the miraculous things. You know, when the Israelites were taken out of Egypt, when God led them out of Egypt, you know, they saw so many miraculous things, but over time, like, you know, the miraculous has a way of fading. The miraculous has a way of kind of losing its luster and losing its awe. You know, I just thinking of one thing in particular in my life, it's like, yes, God did some amazing things, but now as I'm fleshing it out, now in the day-to-day, it's hard. Like, God gave me this miracle. God worked in amazing ways, but down the road, you know, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later, like, I'm in the trenches of something that I prayed for, that I believed for, that God miraculously ordained in my life, but you know, it seems like sometimes I can forget what it was like to actually stand in awe of God's miraculous hand. And so I feel like I'm in a season of just remembering the things that God has done, and speaking life about those things, and remembering the joy, and remembering how it felt, and remembering like what God spoke over a situation, or what God spoke over me and my family, or the things that he has in store for us as ministry and impacting people. Not for us, not for our glory, but for his glory, that people would be saved, that people would be healed, that people would feel a fulfillment that they've been missing. And so I wanted to read this. This is Psalm 78, and this is out of the New Living Translation. It says, "We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about his power and his mighty wonders. For he issued his laws to Jacob. He gave his instructions to Israel. He commanded our ancestors to teach them to their children, so the next generation might know them, even the children not yet born, and they in turn will teach their own children. So each generation should set its hope anew on God, not forgetting his glorious miracles and obeying his commands." And I think, like, when we tell our friends, when we tell our children, and we talk about how God moved in an amazing way in our family, what that does is that ignites our hope. It reignites our faith, and it positions us in a place of praise. On the other hand, when we speak negatively, when we point out the hardships over and over and over again, you know, eventually what happens is that something that we prayed for and we believed for ends up becoming a negative in our life. It ends up becoming something that we resent and that we resist. But it's remembering that we need to tell of the things that God has done. And we need to not only build our own faith, but we need to build the faith of people around us. You know, I met someone last night who has been in a place of God moving mountains for God to move their family to our area, and just talked about how God lined things up with a house and the school and all of this stuff. And like, she was so excited, you know, and she was so filled with hope of how miraculously God moved in her life. And, you know, I've been there before. Like, I've been the one that's been like, oh my goodness, and you wouldn't believe how God did this, and he lined up this, and he's so exciting. But, you know, over time, when we don't tell and we don't share those things, eventually it just seems like the ordinary. The miraculous becomes the ordinary. But really, in all actuality, God is lining up things in our lives. He's lining up things. Like, I might not see something that's happening today that's going to impact my life 20 years down the road, or impact the life around me, but it's being faithful every day to the details. And as God places things in our lives, and as he places things on our heart, that we're willing to move forward and embrace those things and be obedient to that, and then watch God move, and then expect the miraculous things to happen in our lives. Expect our children to be on fire for the Lord. Expect our neighborhoods to to turn their hearts toward Jesus. Expect our schools to improve. Expect our government to get a grip. I have to add that in there. But that we would all begin to speak positive. Expect the miraculous today. Expect that God is going to do something miraculous for you and for the people that you're praying for. You know, I feel like even watching messages and really just getting into the Word, it has ignited a faith in me. And it's just a belief that God is in the details, and even when we don't see him moving, and even when we don't see him navigating, but knowing that he's doing things that really, until we get to heaven, we're not going to know the full scope of how God blessed us and how God was with us every step of the way. So if you're believing for something today, trust in God's timing. If you are hoping for something today, do not lose hope. And if God has done something miraculous in your life, tell it. Tell it on the mountains. Tell it when you go into a new group. Tell new friends. Tell everyone about how good Jesus is and about how faithful he is. And even when it's hard, he has something good for you and he has something good for them. So I want to just leave you with that. I hope that you guys have a great day. I want to say hi to Mary. Hi, Mary. Laura, my mom. My mom is Gail. And I think Heidi's here somewhere. So I just want to thank you for taking the time for watching. I hope you have a miraculous day. And find a friend, tell them something amazing that God has done or is doing in your life. And I will see you next week. See you later.